I love Disney films. Moana's a pretty good one. It came out a while back, and I made a video that set out to answer the mysteries of the grandma. I mean, why does she seem so mysterious? What further knowledge is she hiding? What's up with her special necklace fit perfectly for the heart of Te Fiti? Well, I set out to answer all of these and came up with some excellent conclusions, as well as a mini theory at the end that mentioned it could be possible that Moana's grandma, Tala, is related to Maui biologically. Most likely some kind of distant relation to his birth parents. That's a pretty good video I'd recommend watching because I'll certainly mention it in this video, because today I'm covering more on the grandma's necklace, the further evidence I've found to support it being a controller of the ocean. This is all from evidence seen in the movie alone, not considering perhaps some other mythological Polynesian truths, as not all of that lore carried over into this movie. But before we get to the necklace, I'm going to discuss a couple things I found out about Maui. So let's do this. Hello, I'm the Theorizer, and I'm still bummed out about the dislike ratio on the Moana video being worse than all of my other videos. This is because the vast majority of its viewers were very young little girls who'd watched the movie and thought my video was too scary, so they disliked it. Otherwise, it was people that really didn't understand how I make theories, as they thought I was simply summarizing the plot, which I obviously wasn't. The theory itself was intriguing regarding the necklace, and it will be a focal point of this video. Anyways, I have some notes, some questions to answer, so here we go. The first thing I want to mention is something I noticed during the scene with the big fabulous crab dude. Maui used his powers to transform into a reindeer that was, yes, the exact same character model as Sven from Frozen. Now obviously you could just say Disney is reusing a model, but 1. This is a Disney film where they dug up Polynesian roots to be as thorough as possible, and 2. Why would he become a random reindeer? That's not anything like his other more tropical transformations. No sense made. So it's a joke then, a reference to Frozen, but what if it isn't? So before I get into my actual theory, I'd like to discuss the repercussions of this actually being Sven, and Sven actually being Maui. I looked this up because I hate coincidentally making theories people have already thought of, and I found a Reddit post where someone else also suggested that Maui could actually be Sven. I was glad that someone else had this idea too, but they didn't go deep enough. The thing is, I think I have an explanation for all sapient sidekicks in Disney movies. If Maui truly is somehow Sven, after living for years and years as an immortal demigod, well, that makes no sense because we see baby Sven in Frozen. I began to think, well, maybe there is an explanation for all of the animal sidekicks who talk or act human in Disney films, because not all animals in the movies are just like that. Maybe the sapient ones truly are possessed by some kind of other demigod, but I won't go any further with this because, as I said, there's just no evidence for it. Sven cannot talk, and why would Maui need to go to Arendelle? So that's as far as I'll go with that. So anyways, now onto my theory, which is the actual purpose of this video. At the end of my first Moana theory, I mentioned how I believe that the so-called gods that raised Maui were just in fact Te Fiti herself. Maui also has a relationship with the ocean, so I believe when he was thrown into it by his birth parents, he was transported to Te Fiti and raised by her. Hence how he knew so much about the heart. Hence how she could instantly give him a new fishhook. Hence how she could immediately recreate the special swirl boat that I mentioned was very important, as I believe it could have been created by the grandma or the ocean. My first theory, of course, centered, however, around the grandma, Moana's dad, and Moana, all being a part of a generation of chosen ones that the ocean was selecting to save Te Fiti. I believe this was because they had some sort of very distant biological relation to Maui's birth parents and therefore Maui, and because they were the chiefs of their island, very important people. And so long as they have the special ocean necklace, the heart of Te Fiti, the swirling boat, and the permission of the ocean itself, anyone can leave the island without facing the ocean's severe tides and weather that often keep people landlocked. We see that the father didn't have the boat or necklace, which led him to setting out with his friend, who died. When Moana first set out to escape to the ocean, she didn't have the boat or necklace either. She needed that combination of the four, as the ocean wasn't letting anyone escape unless they were saving Te Fiti. So the key question I'll be answering here is, where did the necklace come from? I now have proof that the grandma does in fact have a direct tie to the ocean. Last video, the only proof I had was her vast knowledge and her necklace, but now I've actually come to some more realizations. I still look through the jungle and I've yet to actually see Tala in there, despite her saying that she watched the ocean choose Moana on that very day when she was an infant. If you watch closely though, you'll notice that the water whispers in a unique voice as it rustles toward Moana. We've established, and will continue to prove, that Tala could control the ocean with her necklace, but could this whisper be her? Probably not, but there's more. The ocean used a baby turtle to test Moana's allegiance to the prophecy, but we can visibly see no indication that the ocean put it there. The sand all around it is dry, and no other sea turtles are seen around, indicating it wasn't a hatch, and it was just recently put there. The baby's parent is wading back in the water too, which means that this turtle, yes, was in fact plucked from the sea and put there to test Moana's empathy. And since there's no wet sand up here, and the grandma did confirm that she was there watching that day, it could have very well been her, walking right through the water to grab it, so any footprints that would have been left would have easily been erased by the tide. I will again mention that the grandma can seemingly summon sea creatures. Remember those rays in the ocean around her? The ocean needs a physical being to do its land activities, and it has Tala. And again, the ocean only acts up when Tala is near it, except for when after Tala has given away her necklace. Then the ocean is tethered to Moana. My further evidence is the sheer and utter fact that Moana dropped the heart of Te Fiti after she received it as a child. She dropped it right back into the tide, and then her father arrives, and when she looks back, it is gone. Totally gone, swept up by the ocean, yet miraculously, Tala keeps it for several years, hidden in her necklace. So how did she get it if the ocean took it? Well, she obviously has a tie to this sapient entity. The most stunning and unbelievable thing I just realized is this. Immediately after Tala gave the heart to Moana, she began to die. Just then. She suddenly begins to decease due to unknown causes. I can't believe I didn't align these things together, holy crap. My theory here is that Tala was using the heart to keep herself alive until she could teach Moana everything. What's killing Tala then? I believe her age was draining her like the rest of the life was being drained from the island. Boom. She gave Moana all she needed, then bam, dead after she relinquished the gem. She even caused a shockwave when she died, almost like a major and important power was let loose from her. Her tie to the ocean is seen deeper, and when the ocean literally conjures her spirit to console Moana, boom! What more must I prove here? I think it's even a possibility that the ocean has adapted her personality from the decades of her befriending and wielding it. It has sarcasm, comedy, treats Maui in the exact same way that Tala suggested Moana to do, and of course, it manifested itself as Tala to comfort Moana. Where'd this necklace come from? Well, I'm not too sure, but as we see long ago, Moana's ancestors had the exact same one around their neck. What? How did I just notice that? And these are the same ancestors who traveled the worlds. This is the chief. He has the hat. Boom! Called it. The lanyard rope is of course different, but that's not what's important. Tala clearly customized it because of her feminineness, but what's important is the shell itself, this mystical object. I just want to casually point out that this took place before Maui stole the heart. When Maui stole the heart, they stopped venturing. This means that the shell was not consciously designed for the heart by some human. In fact, we see the chief pass it down to, presumably his son, the next chief. This means it is a relic of the current chief, but Tala made sure not to give it to Moana's dad. Why? Because of the cynic he became after losing a friend to the sea. This all makes too much sense. It controls the tides and helps them get around, but they've been restricted to the island because their past chiefs feared Te Fiti's disappearance, and the current chief was without the necklace. and they actually make a huge point about it in the song. "We know the way," they sing. They use the stars and sky to map their view, and the shell lets them evade treacherous waters. They have no idea where they're going except for the constellations. Most people on the island succumbed to the mythology and concept that the ocean is a spirit. The grandma is so tame around it, and the people understand that it just chose Moana. Their inherent knowledge makes sense only if people have been chosen in the past, like the chiefs. One who wields the ocean wields the wind as well. Maui's parents were probably old chiefs who threw him out because he impeded on their expeditions. Well, maybe not that, but of course it's a possibility. The shell necklace was a key component and was likely designed by the ocean and maybe Te Fiti, or I don't know, some of the chiefs, to fit Te Fiti's heart. So were Te Fiti in the ocean expecting Maui to steal the heart? The heart, boat, necklace, all of them have this signature swirl that is also constantly promoted in Moana's name, but the necklace existed before the heart was stolen. This means either the humans sent Maui to steal it, and they were waiting for him to bring it back to their container, or Te Fiti in the ocean created the necklace for the chosen one to wield all their powers. Perhaps Maui's parents were chiefs, and they sent him out to steal it so he could please them, forever waiting with the container, passing it down generations. But I can hypothesize all day on this necklace. I'm pretty sure we've discovered its core function, which of course is all that matters in my theory, but where it came from is perhaps just something we'll never answer. We may not know yet its origin, but it's been passed down, was designed with the heart in mind, and seems to have the ability to befriend and wield the sea. Yikes, my hyperactivity should be curbed or I'll probably die. There are other questions I plan to make videos on in the very near future, such as why Maui's parents thought he was so worthless, and more stuff on him and his parents. For those of you who need a summarization of this video, because apparently some people do, in this video, I talked about the origins of the ocean-wielding shell necklace and how it makes the person who wears it friends with the spirit of the ocean. I discussed it in more depth than in my last video, and also about how the grandma truly did in fact bend and manipulate the ocean to her will, and how it all ties together. I don't know how this isn't a theory. For those of you who claim I'm making otherwise, apparently it's either fact or hypothesis with no in-between. I'm all about the analysis, though. Evidence matters much more to me than the product because of all the things we can do with it. So much fun, so much critical thought, and until next time, I'm the Theorizer.